All right, guys. So as I mentioned earlier, I did a video on it. The mainstream liberal media went into mental gymnastics mode when they found out that the alleged mass shooter of the Colorado LGBTQ nightclub in Colorado Springs, he identifies as non-binary. Now, this again naturally makes the mainstream liberal media uncomfortable because the narrative now has been thrown out the window that this guy is some type of MAGA guy, right? He's a Trump supporter, which is what the mainstream liberal media went with without any real facts or evidence. We still don't have any facts or evidence. We really don't know much else about this story. But what we do know is that his defense attorney says that he is in fact non-binary. He goes by MX pronouns. So normally when the narrative doesn't fit, the mainstream liberal media, they make the story go away, right? They say, you know what, we're not going to talk about it anymore. The guy's black, he's LGBTQ, because apparently black or LGBTQ violence on any other group of people is not worth talking about. But if it's white on insert said minority, then it's the worst thing ever. It has to be wall-to-wall coverage, right? So again, we all understand how this works. But in this case right here, they're not quite giving up on this guy is definitely a Trumper / MAGA guy narrative, as they're saying that the suspect is making it up. He's lying about being non-binary as a way to get out of a potential hate crime charge. And they're so desperate to hang on to their narrative that this guy is a Trumper. He's a MAGA guy. He's a conservative. That CNN brought on a trans woman to discredit the non-binary identity of the alleged Colorado mass shooter. Take a look.
Natalie, when we started the show, we got a little bit of news earlier that the attorneys for the shooter are now saying that the shooter is non-binary, and the shooter would like to use the pronouns they, them, and this is for the court in all court papers, and that's what Anderson Aldrich's attorneys are saying. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I think that's complete ludicrous. I believe they're just saying that because they want to have the easy way out on this. That's really, really offending, especially being a transgender woman myself, that a male, which it was obvious with the mugshot, that's a man, that's not a non-binary person, because in no way, shape, or form could they appear as a woman the next day. It's really offensive to even hear that they're playing that role. And if they're non-binary, why would you go after the club where you feel safe at? Why would you do that to a community where you are welcomed in if you are non-binary?
Excellent question. Obviously, all of this will have to be answered.
Guys, I want y'all to think about this. What do you think the reaction would be? What do you think the left would say if I told that transgender woman that you look like a man, therefore you cannot be a woman, right? You're not a woman because you look like a man. What do you think that the response would be? Do you think that would be okay? I think that the left would say I'm transphobic, that I am denying a trans person's rights to exist. Again, I don't know if this shooter is making it up. Okay, I have no clue if he's just saying that he's non-binary simply as a way to troll or something. I have no clue. I don't know what the motive is, right? There's new stuff that has come out to suggest that the guy was bullied online. This may have something to do with bullying or something. There's a whole lot of things that we're not going to know for probably at least another couple weeks, just like every single time a story like this happens. So again, the point of this video is that you shouldn't just jump to conclusions. But again, I just find it fascinating how the mainstream liberal media, they want to stick to their conclusion so bad that this guy is a Trumper, he's a MAGA guy, that they go against everything that they've lectured or write on simply to keep the narrative. Because again, it would never be acceptable for me to tell that transgender person, you're not a real woman. You're a man, you look like a man, therefore, it's an insult for you to sit here and to say otherwise. Again, you told us that you can't deny people's identities. They think, therefore they are, right? That's what you told us. This could be a lower class, or a trans person living in poverty where they can't afford the makeup, they can't afford the surgeries, they can't afford all the things that are required to look more feminine. Maybe they was just in a transition mode where maybe that day he felt like a boy or he wanted to look more masculine. Who am I to assume? But again, it's just funny how when the perpetrator, the suspect, is claiming to be LGBTQ, oh no, it's impossible for them to be LGBTQ. No way. No way. He's not LGBTQ. He can't be non-binary. Can't be. Not possible. As if there's not LGBTQ on LGBTQ violence. That happens. This could be anything. This could be, a personal issue that he had with, people there, or, it could be a love thing. We don't know. We have no clue. But they're already trying to tell us that, hey, can't be non-binary. He's lying. He's a Trumper, though. No evidence, but he's a Trumper. Again, these journalists, they know how silly this is. It's just funny to watch how the silliness, the stuff that we've been screaming about, just how crazy this is, that you can just identify as whatever gender, right? It has come back to haunt them in the worst way possible because it's getting in the way of their narrative. And they care about the narrative so much that they're willing to use textbook transphobia, according to the left, in order to prove it. But what I find to be even more fascinating is how this guy can self-identify as non-binary, right? He can self-identify as non-binary, and the mainstream little media will come out here and say, no way, he's not non-binary, he's trolling, it's not true. But yet, this guy's father will come out here and say that he is a conservative Republican. The father's a conservative Republican, right? And that is proof. That's proof, according to Brian Tyler Cohen, who's a left-wing operative. That's proof. This guy was MAGA, right? His whole family was MAGA. His whole family was conservative Republicans. Gotcha. This must mean that the shooter was a conservative Republican. He did it out of hate for the LGBTQ. Or put it this way, he did it because he was conservative. Because that's what they want you to think. Conservatism leads to this. This is what they want you to think. That's what they're trying to put out there, right? That's what they're trying to put out there, right? Now, keep in mind, this guy's father was a big-time weed dealer, right? Got federal charges, did federal time. So again, he won't no slouch. He was moving weight. He's a porn star and a former methamphetamine addict. Also, not to mention, he thought his son was dead. Okay, he thought that his son was dead after his son did a name change. He thought his son had committed suicide, so he didn't even know his son was alive. He found out, just like everybody else, that his son had committed this. So he wasn't in his son's life. But again, that hasn't stopped people like this guy right here, this hack. And of course, we have Saint Yogurt, who's been, melting down over this for days, from saying, oh, this is proof. This is proof. He raised his son to be hateful. Okay, even though he wasn't in his son's life. But it must be MAGA conservatives. That must be what it is. It must be that ideology. It's that ideology. That's what caused this. Can't be the fact that the kid was crazy. He was raised in a chaotic environment. Parents wasn't really in his life. He allegedly has some online bullying stuff going on. Can't be any of those things. It is the political ideology. That's what it is. Okay, so let's listen to this guy talk. And y'all tell me, does this sound like your typical conservative Republican here? Y'all tell me.
There was a shooting involving multiple people, right? And then later on going to find it's a gay bar.
Yeah, right. And
I was like, oh my God, is he gay? As a scared, oh my God, shit, is he gay? And he's not gay, so it's
well, you guys had conversations about that. You were.
Oh yeah, I was adamant.
Told him, yeah, you were adamant that gay is bad.
I'm a Mormon. I'm a conservative Republican, and we don't do gay. We don't do gay.
Yeah.
I can't get answers from the attorneys really, but they're saying that some of these, it's involving a gay bar or some shit. I don't know. I don't know what the heck he did at a gay bar. I don't know what's going on.
Well, he's accused of going on a mass shooting at a gay bar and killing 5 people.
Colorado.
Okay, well, that's shit. If he's accused of doing that, this guy's not gay. I say that, but he's not gay.
Yeah, so, I want y'all to understand what's going on here. Okay, obviously, This guy doesn't like gay people, okay? His father doesn't like gay people. It's very clear, okay? He's more worried about his son potentially being gay than the fact that he shot up the bar, okay? That's obvious. But he describes himself as a conservative Republican. And the mainstream liberal media, they just go along with that. He's a conservative Republican, even though he was a weed dealer, right? I mean, again, big time trafficker, an adult film actor. He's a drug head. He wasn't in his son's life, okay? Yeah, he thought his son was dead. So let's be honest. He doesn't know if his son is gay at all. He doesn't know if his son is LGBTQ. He doesn't know anything about his son. He just found out like everybody else what happened. But the mainstream, they're going to run with this. Well, this guy, he's definitely a conservative. He's a conservative Republican because he said it. But if his son says that I'm non-binary, no, you don't believe that, right? Don't believe that. That's not legitimate. But this is a weed trafficker, an adult film star, a drug head who wasn't in his son's life. 100% conservative Republican, guys. He's 100% conservative Republican just because he don't like gays. But the mass shooter, he's not non-binary. He's not non-binary. He's not LGBT. Guys, you understand how this works. What's true and what's not true depends on whether or not the left likes it, right? Whether or not it fits the narrative. Not true that the shooter is non-binary, but totally true that this guy is MAGA, right? He's MAGA because he said it, right? Because he said it. But the shooter also says that he was non-binary. No, don't believe that, right? You can't believe what comes out of his mouth, but you can believe what comes out of his dad's mouth, though, right? The guy that clearly is tweaking on something. Believe that guy. Again, I'm not saying that his dad is not a Republican or whatever. He probably is. But what I'm saying is that everything that's true and what's not true, what you can and can't accept, aligns perfectly with what is convenient for the leftist narrative. Doesn't have anything to do with the actual facts. Because if the left was consistent, they would accept that the shooter is non-binary just based off what we have now, the evidence that we have now. They wouldn't question that the same way they're not going to question this guy and his testimony that he's a conservative Republican. So what ends up happening here, guys, is that now the left is going to push this narrative that, see, you have conservative fathers in this country raising their sons to go out and commit mass shootings. So now every conservative father is being smeared across the country. Even though a vast majority of conservative fathers are raising their sons to not do things like this, right? They're actually in their sons' lives. They're probably not drug addicts. They're probably not adult film stars. They're probably not moving weight, right? I'm just saying. No. Conservative Republican dads are a threat. Okay, this is how they're raising their sons. This is what they do. Instead of talking about the fact that, hey, maybe, just maybe, when conservatives talk about mass shootings and solutions, maybe if you look at a situation like this, the kid's father was not in his life. He clearly was having mental issues. He clearly was having issues with his family, right? Apparently, he might have been bullied online. Maybe the fact that his father was like this, strung out on drugs, a life of crime, being an adult film star, maybe that is what contributed to this person committing this tragedy rather than political ideology. Because apparently his father said he praised violence, right, in the early days with his son, before he thought his son committed suicide. He praised violence. So who knows? Maybe him having a bad father had more to do with this than political ideology, because I'm pretty sure, again, 99% of conservative fathers are not raising their kids like this. They don't raise their kids like this. Clearly, this guy's not a responsible father. Clearly, there's some household issues. The left don't want to talk about that because they're not interested in solving that problem. They want people strung out on drugs. They want fatherless homes. They want irresponsible parents. This is why they praise the stuff that they praise. This is why they push the stuff that they push. They want chaos. They love this type of stuff. So instead of talking about that factor, no, it must be political ideology. As if all conservative fathers are raising their sons to be this way. Again, I'm not sure what's so conservative about this guy, but because he says it, therefore he is, I guess. But that doesn't count for the shooter who says that they're non-binary. Again, y'all remember the Buffalo shooter? He said he was a left-winger. Liberal media said, nah, he's a right-winger. He's a Tucker Carlson guy. Right? Amazing how that works. It's amazing how the mainstream liberal media can figure out what a woman is or what a woman isn't when they need to push their agenda. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.